Hey everyone, Cam here. I want to talk about the single leg deadlift exercise today because it's a great exercise to strengthen your hip and work on your balance, but it's often done poorly, and I just want to give a few tips on how you could make your single leg deadlift better. So now I've got my lovely assistant slash fiance Chrissy with me, and she's going to be the demo for some of the issues with single leg deadlifts and how we can better address them and fix them to have a better single leg deadlift. So first thing, we're gonna have Chrissy come up in front of me right here, and she's gonna stand and face the box, because what I really like is when you're learning the single leg deadlift, you can anchor your hands on a box and you don't have to worry about the balance so much, so we can focus on the cues that we wanna develop here. So single leg deadlift, this is roughly the position. You're stood on one leg. You want to be doing most of the motion with your hips as a hip hinge, because it is a deadlift, and deadlifts are usually with your hips in a hinge, more so than a squat with your knees. The first thing that I want to address is the knee bend right here. We want this knee slightly bent so that we're not locked out in the knee. We can be a little more relaxed in the knee. You can engage the hamstring and the glute on your standing leg, and then you can get your full weight over that leg that you're standing on. If the knee shoots backwards, if the knee's over the heel or even behind the heel, it's a lot easier for that toe to pop up, and we don't want that because then you're gonna fall backwards. If you bend the knee just slightly enough that you feel like, do you feel like you have all of your weight over that foot there? Awesome. So just enough knee bend. If we go too far, it starts turning into a squat. You're gonna lose the hinge in the hips, and then you might even have the heel pop up and then you fall forward. You can even think of this knee as like steering yourself, and this counterbalances if it shifts forward and back a little bit. That's gonna help you find a solid point on your foot. Next, we're gonna go into what the rest of the body is doing while you're doing that hinge. So we want a slight bend in that right knee, just enough that you feel all the pressure on that right foot. And then what we're looking at here is we want a straight line from the heel. So we're gonna reach the heel back to the shoulder. So think as long of a line as you can. You want to make from your shoulder to your heel, and then you can put that down for a second. If we're going to arch the back to try to create support, if you go down in the deadlift and the leg doesn't come up very high, that's going to be a problem. You're going to lose your balance. You're not going to be able to get into the hip effectively. So when you do the deadlift, one more time please, a little bend in that standing knee, and then you're thinking this other half of the body as long as you can. And similar to the knee, if you feel like you're always falling forwards, you're gonna reach your heel back a little bit more, and that's gonna pull you back in space and get your weight back a little bit more. And if you feel like you're always falling backwards, you're gonna reach the top of your head and your shoulders forward just a little bit, and that's gonna stop you from falling backwards. So heel and upper body, you can put that leg down. Thank you very much. Is another way to kind of counterbalance yourself when you're in that bottom position of the single leg deadlift. And the third, and probably the most difficult one to master for the single leg deadlift, is the rotation of the hips when you're in that bottom position. Really common thing you're gonna see is when this leg lifts up, this hip is gonna hike up in the air, and you're gonna get that kind of external rotation on the standing leg. So you can put that back down for a second. This muscle is tensing up, and that is creating that external rotation to try to create some stability in the hip when you're in that bottom position. We want to be able to sit into that hinge, and if we're squeezed in that external rotation position, we're not going to be able to sit into the hips as much, and if we stop moving in the hips, it's probably going to go into the lower back. That can be why single leg deadlifts lead to sore backs a lot of the time. And this is why I love this position with the hands on the box, because you can lean forward, you don't have to worry about balance as much, and you can really settle into the position, the bottom position, let things relax and feel the stretch and feel the position. If you're having trouble with your single leg deadlifts, I totally recommend working on this even as a warm-up for 1 or 2 sets before you go in, and I think you'll feel a lot better when you do the actual motion. Go ahead, pick up the leg, whatever leg you'd like. We're gonna bend that knee just a little bit. You're still thinking that long position with your right side of your body. And then we wanna just rotate the hip in a little bit while keeping this right leg high up in the air. So you're leaned forward as much as you can, picking that leg up, Can you feel kind of a stretch down the side here? Can you feel a stretch in your butt? Yeah, we're thinking you're sitting your butt back into a chair. You can put that leg down. You want to feel yourself reaching your hips backwards, especially on that standing leg, sitting back, almost even rotating the hip in a little bit. You should feel, not that you're squeezing anything, but you want to feel like a really big stretch sensation kind of build up as you're sitting in that position. 3 tips for you to work on for your single leg deadlift. Thanks, Chrissy, for your lovely demos. And if you've got any questions about single leg deadlifts or other exercises that you would like some help with, let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe down below.